Howdy everybody. Today's a little maintenance work. We're gonna go into the shop and we're gonna pull the wheels off the Concours and we're gonna put some new brakes on it. We're gonna start out by removing the cotter pin on the rear axle castle nut. This can be done multiple ways. The easiest way I find it is to remove it, or is to flatten it out with a pair of side cutters and then a pair of pliers, and then I actually have a cotter pin removal tool that you slide into the loop on the end and you just pull it out. I think that'll fit. Oh yeah, baby. I have to hit up the snap-on man tomorrow. Actually, I might have to. So we got the axle nut off. And washer, and then it's going loud. And then we've got caliper bracket. I need to pull a caliper anyways because I'm doing brake pads. So let's do that. I remember I got a camera on my head. And just for simplicity's sake, I want the ABS sensor. Caliper, bolts. Beating instrument. Use your choice of beating instrument. Just remember, don't beat directly on the axle. There's your caliper bracket. And there's your spacer. And then you just need to, at least on a shaft drive, you just need to completely disengage the axle. There we go. Now, just pop it off. And rear wheel. So, the reason I'm changing these, so if you look here, you can see these are your wear bars. If you get over here on the edge, you can see the wear bars are almost gone. So I don't like to get tires to the point where they are already bad. I like to get them before they get bad. And if you look here, brake pads are glad I caught them when I did. They're about at the end of their service life. Not much left. Here I am applying anti-seize lubricant to the splines of the rear coupling. I'm also putting it on the axle and the actual coupling on the wheel itself. Anti-seize lubricant is one of those things that I recommend that you get for maintenance. It is especially great for interfaces between steel and aluminum, such as stuff that goes into the block of your engine. It's also good for keeping corrosion down if you're in a high corrosion area where they use salt on the roads. Put this stuff anywhere that doesn't need to be greased or lubricated, but you want to keep that interface between the two areas from corroding over. Now, I did have a little bit of a problem lining up the coupling on the wheel, and there are a couple of ways that will help you out with doing this. You can slide the axle shaft into the coupling, but you do have several different layers that you have to get your splines through. You have the spacer inside of the rear differential, then you have on your coupling you have your rubber pieces that mesh into each other that kind of take up some of that extra torque inside the wheel, so you have to get through all the different various layers. Just take your time, get everything lined up, and it's much better than trying to force everything together. At that point you're just going to end up breaking something. So remember, if you have to force it, it's not right. Here I am resetting the piston on the caliper. On a non-floating caliper, you have opposing pistons that have to be compressed simultaneously. Just leave the old pads in place to keep from marring the pistons, and then pry them away from each other until the pads touch the body of the caliper. This ensures that you have room to install the new pads. Also, don't forget to pump the brakes to seat the pads against the rotor before you even take the bike off the stands. When resetting the piston, just take it slow and easy. Remember, if you have to force it, something is wrong. Next, remove the pad holder bolt and the pads. I lubricate the holder hole and bolt just to keep the pad floating freely and prevent seizing or binding. I had a hard time lining up everything where I couldn't see it, so I pulled the caliper back off and installed the pads. I popped inside and downloaded the factory service manual. Looked up all the torque specs, took a drink, said hi to Squishy. A dab of Loctite on the pad through bolt, then torqued it to spec. Then Loctite on the caliper bolts, and torqued also. Same for the caliper bracket bolt. and then torque the axle bolt and install the cotter pin. Lastly, installation of the ABS sensor. And that's it. New rear tire and brakes. Thanks for watching.